And good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. My name is Ron Foster, touching base with you every day as I do. And my voice is slowly coming back. How are you? What's going on? What's going on, Chris? Good
Nothing,
morning.
man. Good morning to you. How are you today?
Should I have said I'm with my partner in crime, Chris Edwards.
Partner in crime is here. I think
Yes.
we were both kind of rushing to jump on this morning.
I went for my morning walk and then did some grocery shopping. I had got some good rest though, and I was glad that my client was like, I was like, I'll have some photos ready for you for tomorrow. And she said, oh no, don't worry about it. I'm not answering any emails tomorrow. I
Good.
said, so when? I said, when will you be back in the office? She says, Monday. Don't worry about it. We can wait till Monday. I said,
Look, I love clients like that.
that means I can just take it easy for the rest of the day. And if I want to go for a walk, I can go for a walk, which I'm going to do again. I did 3.5 miles this morning, but
Okay.
I want to do another 3.5 later on. So,
Well, listen, you know what's funny? This past week has kind of been like a reckoning for me. I'm trying to get back into we had this conversation, I think, on Monday,
yes.
actually.
Mm-hmm.
When I was living in New York, I was getting anywhere between 12 to 17 miles between running and walking every single day, like 5 days a week, really. And, now that I'm here in Delaware and I'm working from home, it's much harder. So I've been consciously making the effort since last weekend to try to get at least like 8 miles in. So all week long, I've gotten anywhere between 7.5 to 9.5 miles in. I've been going in the morning, doing like a run or a walk or a combination, and then going back and doing a walk in the evening, either right before dinner or after dinner, right as the sun's setting. Because as you know, I've got this gorgeous trail right along here, right outside my
We
backyard.
got one of
So
the best trails in
yeah,
anyone's backyard.
I got to take full advantage of it. So I'm feeling better. Like I feel my energy coming back. I don't feel as tired. My body doesn't feel as achy, and I know because I'm moving a lot
You're
more.
moving. The more you move, the better you feel.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get back into it. And then I was up late last night because I watched the Kamala Harris and Oprah Winfrey special
Oh, we're
on
going to talk
YouTube,
about
and
that. We are
yeah,
going
that was
to talk
amazing.
about that.
Did that, and then also I was doing my homework on this joke of a man in North Carolina who
Woo!
is
Talk
running
about
for
that.
his running.
Yes,
There's a lot to dive into today, so I've
Ooh.
been busy just like catching up and watching a lot of stuff last night, this morning, and I've got it ready. I got it
He's
set
ready.
up here.
He's
I'm
ready,
ready to
y'all.
go.
So let's greet some folks. Let's greet some folks. I see. Ooh, look who took the gold this morning. Chris
Come
R.
on, Chris.
Chris R took the gold. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. She took the gold. And in second place in the silver is Mr. B. He says, in my Oprah voice, happy Friday. Oh, how should I say it? Happy Friday. And then in third place in the bronze is our wonderful Amparo Grand Rising, she says. And we got our wonderful Jazzy Jazz is in the building. Good morning, she says to everyone. Man, so we can just dive right on in and then I'm going to share some accounts. Kind of like some of the accounts that I want people to know about, as in Focus Friday, the accounts that bless, courage, inspire. But bless us, encourage us, inspire us into the election, because we are in election season. Mr. Omar is in the building. He says, "Hey." Brian is in the building. Okay, I gotta take a sip before I say Brian's hello. He says, what's up? What's up, Chris? What's up, RLP fam? What's up, CQ fam? Happy Transformers Friday. Hope everybody watched Once in America last night. I did not watch that Once in America last night. Do you mean Unite? Oh, okay.
I think it's Unite in America.
Does he mean Unite
I
for
think
America?
So. I think so. That's what it was. Unite in America.
Anyway, also today, in case you don't know, it's a very important day. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for what today is? Happy National Pepperoni Pizza Day. I love pepperoni pizza. And so today, in celebration of the pepperoni pizza day, I will be getting my pepperoni pizza day on.
Okay. Yeah, he corrected himself. He was talking about the Unite in America.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's start. Let's start there. United for America. Man, I was in tears twice. Nope, three times.
It was
Mainly
hard.
two times.
It definitely pulled on your heartstrings last night.
Woo!
Some of the stories, and I think that's what people really need to hear. Some of these stories of the people that are impacted by the things that um, the Orange Man and his party have put on the American
Decisions,
people. Yeah,
votes matter. I mean, when you think about the young lady that spoke about her
daughter.
being raped by her
Oh, the young lady.
stepfather, and
Yeah,
then now she's out there on a national platform talking about, and then she says she had a choice, but girls today don't have a choice.
yeah.
So that, I mean, and when you think about all that is out there, and then the girl that died in the hospital, and her mom was there, and her two
Her mom,
sisters.
her daughters, and her sisters were there
Yeah.
supporting. I think that was the most heart wrenching. And we talked about it yesterday a little bit. The fact that this actually happened 2 years ago, so it's actually just now coming out.
Well,
And
they just learned about what happened this
right,
year. They just learned
right,
about
because
it.
the final report just came out this past week, and you're going to have a lot more cases like that coming out in the months and the years ahead. Because
Mm,
like we say, politics is a trickle down type of effect. It doesn't happen instantaneously. It takes a while for these things to actually pan out, and we're now seeing the results of Roe versus Wade being overturned. All these states implementing these quote unquote abortion bans, and it's not even like her case is not even about abortion. It's about getting medical care because, a typical DNC, which many people get all the time. It's, add to the fact that,
mm,
the body has expelled an unviable fetus, but some things remain behind. And when that remains behind, that can lead to lots of different things. And it builds up in the body, and it can be fatal. So you have to go in and clear that out. And she couldn't even get that just basic care, which is so sad. But
and then when she and also, um, the mother of the daughter that was shot at the Appalachie school, and that was so you had these
yeah,
three moments that were really,
she's
but
sitting right there.
and Meryl Streep said it all. I think it was Meryl Streep. She
I think
says everything that was in common on these things is that they were all preventable.
yeah, yeah. And you know what? The one thing I really loved about this, and people will have their commentary about it, this was presented by Win with Black Women and
Yes.
Oprah Winfrey. It was a co-branded event. And people, I've heard some commenters say, oh, well, does it really matter if Oprah did this because she doesn't have the same celebrity pull as she did before? The kids don't really necessarily know of her, and she's not as popular with them. It's not about that.
It's
It's
not
about
about that.
having, one, all right, great. Oprah Winfrey has endorsed her, and she has a huge following, and people trust the things that she says. There's, so that's one thing, but also to have Kamala Harris actually sat down, took questions from Oprah, took questions from viewers in the audience,
Hmm.
took questions from people, on the screens that were beamed in.
Hmm.
It was the largest Zoom. I believe the last when I looked, they had about 295,000 people watching last night, and God knows how many people have rewatched it or watched it for the
Yes.
first time afterwards. So it's a huge platform. People are getting to see her more. She's not saying anything she hasn't been saying since she started running, or
Yes.
even before that. She's saying the same thing. She's empathetic. She is someone for the people. She's not about hate. She's about joy. She's about uplifting us. What I loved what Oprah did was she was like, when Biden stepped out and announced that he was endorsing, You just like stepped into your joy, into your stride, and like that's exactly what
That's what
happened.
happened. It's exactly what
And
happened.
she waited for home. She didn't do any of this before. Like she waited for that moment when they said, "This is your time." She stepped into it, and she has just been a light. Like there's something about this campaign. It just reminds you of 2008 when President Barack Obama was running, and just that joy and like those goosebumps that you get just knowing that, oh my God, there's someone that looks like me, someone that talks sensibly, that has policies, and that they're going to be for me and for the American people.
Mm.
So it's inspiring. I hope she continues to do more things like this. Um, and I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
I'm seeing I'm a little late to the chat here, and I see here Jazzy send up my pizza. Thank you, Jazzy, and the pizza day. But also, and I see here, good. Hey, Kimmy Kim is in the building. Good morning, Kimmy. And this is unacceptable that you cannot get yeah, this is unacceptable that you cannot get proper medical care. What if they do this for other things? Taking my head because again, remember the taking down of Roe v. Wade is the gateway to everything else.
Yep.
And people don't realize that now they're going after everything,
Yep.
and even civil rights, even voting rights, everything is up for grabs. Because if you could that was the first time in American history that a right was taken away from people.
Yeah.
America has a history of continually adding new rights and new freedoms. It
And
was the first time going back.
this is the first time that young girls will have less rights and opportunities than their mothers and grandmothers. When you think about that and say that out loud, that is crazy. That is crazy. That children have less rights than their parents and their grandparents
Yeah, I see Jazzy
about their
says also.
bodies.
Jazzy says Oprah has a gift of interviewing and tapping into your emotions. Yes, she
Yep.
does. I was like, I mean, I was I saw the repeat. I didn't see it live because I was photographing. I was on location last night at Fort Greene Park here in Brooklyn, photographing the Fling fundraiser for the park. And but as soon as I got home, I turned it on, and it was incredible. We're gonna in a minute. We're gonna bring Brian on. I think Brian might. Did Brian go to it? Let's see. I see Lisa's in the building as well. Okay. Also, maybe we'll have these. Lisa will settle in. I sent her out her invitation as always. And
She's gonna jump on one day.
who?
Lisa, she's gonna jump on one day.
Well, is Lisa's not in the building. I don't think
Oh,
Lisa's here.
you said Elise. Elise.
Elise.
Sorry.
Lisa's
I think
not
it's
in the
Lisa.
building though. Yeah. I was crying. Brian said he was crying out. So let's bring crying. Let's bring Brian. Let's bring crying Brian on. What's going on, B?
Oh man, it's good to see you back in your normal location, sir.
Yes, so good to see you're back. Welcome back. You are in. You look like you are rested.
Well, I'll go with that. There's still some physical therapy, and I'm on medication, and but yeah, I wouldn't miss yesterday.
Did you go? Did you go to the event?
Workout pause.
No, I think either I responded too late because I didn't get it.
Okay.
And by the time I checked my email, and I was like 1, 2, 3 missed, and then I'm like, holy crap! So I went and did responded, but I think it was too late. But I had the invite for the after, I guess say after party.
Oh, okay.
And that's where that's where I met Oprah, heard her.
Wow, you got to meet the big O.
Well, it's like a couple of seconds, handshake or whatever. But I was so shocked, and like it was one of those. How can I put it? The generation that we're in now, whether we are of our age or younger, where, well, if you don't have video, it didn't happen, or if you don't have pictures, it didn't happen. Sometimes being in the moment is being in the
Yeah.
moment. But
Yes.
I don't know at what point did I like, oh crap, I should probably record this, or and then I couldn't get
Well, it
my
was so fast. I'm
IG
sure she
live
didn't
to,
linger and hung out with you and say, "Hey, Brian,
yeah,
let's go get some cup of coffee."
no, and
It was a
I mean,
handshake, and then she moved to the next person.
I mean, the after um party, I guess the after
Mm,
party wasn't as big as the event in the studio.
yes.
My friends from Clubhouse, Ron, you've been on occasion in our
Yes.
rooms on politics, but the doctors that I've met and known through Clubhouse for like 4 years now, never met in person, but the group that they just organically started, Voices for Kamala, was one of the groups on there, and I'm a part of Win with Black Men. And then there's Creatives for Kamala. So, many people cut across a lot of different groups, but they were in town, and I saw them in the video, and things work out for a reason, because I had to figure out, like, once Xavier was down, he watched it for a bit up until it was time for bed,
Mm,
and I'm glad he went to bed when he did, because it was when about that the family that sat there with their daughter that
yes.
was
Yes.
injured, and that had me bawling again.
Yeah. I was like,
I
I felt like my voice. I mean, I wasn't. I was. I just felt so choked up. I was like, I cannot. It's just so sad that, and again, half of our country, well, I should say a third of a country, not half, a third of our country doesn't have the ability to see others.
Yeah.
A
Mhm.
third of the country has no ability to see the hurt, the pain of others. And it's all about me, 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 me. It's narcissistic. It's all about, I just want to get rich. I want Trump because I want to be rich. I want Trump because he just says it what it is. But they don't see all of the people that are hurting because of decisions that the MAGA crowd and the Republicans have created. And again, I say it, you hear me say it all the time. Pain is the point.
Yep.
Pain is the point. Being cruel and pain, being cruel and inflicting pain is the point of MAGA. Hey, Elise, welcome, my dear. Good morning.
Good morning. Good
Good
morning. You're
morning.
exactly right. It's the hatred, the pain, all of that is the point of it.
It's the whole
Destruction
point.
is the goal.
Yes, destruction. And they've said it. We just want to tear down the country. We don't want an American government. We want to tear it down. And it's the ignorance is just profound. But yeah, it was really good. I enjoy Kamala sharing. I love when she goes human. I know that sounds crazy, but I
No,
mean,
Right.
it
when
makes sense.
she's in political mode. I mean, most politicians are in political, politician mode. But when she goes off the script and she really is just letting her hair down, it really is so refreshing. Like that, I think the line she says, "Oh my goodness," she said, "Anyone comes to my house, they're gonna get
no,
shot."
I love that. You know what, though?
no,
Here's the thing.
And
I
then she
love that
said,
she
and then
said
she was
that.
like, and she
I love
said,
that she said that.
she was
probably should
like,
have said
"I'm
that.
probably gonna get in trouble for saying."
But you know what, though? That was a real moment.
It was a real
And
moment.
she said what she believed. And,
Yes,
all those Republicans who are all about their guns, they can understand that.
yes,
And
Right.
All
any
right.
American, think about that. To me, that's regardless of, you tell me what American citizen in this country, when it's you, and I've lived through a burglary
mm,
when I was a child. The fact that these burglars were in our house while we were asleep, And
Wow.
my mom, just after my parents were divorced, and my mom didn't have a firearm, even though my parents weren't together, my dad was livid. And as a military guy, he was like, "Listen, I know we ain't together, but you gonna learn." You tell me any American who has an issue with
He
that
taught your
statement.
mom how to use the
Yeah.
weapon.
After that, my mom had my mom
Wow.
had a pistol in the bed because she was a very non. When my dad went to Vietnam, my mom was weirdly like, "I'm against the war, but I'm going to support my husband."
Yes.
And so throughout our life, she's been non. All it took, unfortunately and sadly, was that experience. And
Wow.
she's been, yeah, she's seen stuff as a child in Alabama. But I'll just
Yes.
say,
Yes.
my point is, who among us would have an issue with that? If it's you, seriously, think about that. Wherever you are, kids or no kids, if somebody broke in your house, so
Jazzy said
he
you
was
could
real.
feel the realness in that moment. It was so real. And that's why everyone busted out laughing. Everyone
Right.
chuckled. And because everyone could feel what she was saying. And I think we all can identify.
Yeah.
And again, it every everyone when she said it in the debate that she had a gun,
She had a gun. Yeah.
everyone was it truly was a pearl clutching moment. Everyone's like, oh, she has a gun. But she
Right.
would. I mean, she's
Right. It
a
made sense.
DA. You know,
She
it
was
was
a prosecutor. She was a
But
DA.
Exactly.
but you
Exactly. It
know,
makes sense. I mean, most time they tell like prosecutors that they should have
yes.
a legal firearm to protect themselves because they
you
go
don't
up against some crazy people. But let me just kind of step back a little bit. The one thing I love about her is that, and how she reminds me of President Obama is she's very thoughtful with her words, and there's always like what they call a pregnant pause after she's asked a question. She
Yes.
sits with the question for a second and then she
Yes.
answers it. She doesn't just
Right.
start spewing off and going off like certain individuals, but she takes the time to think about the question and then answer it in a way that is coherent and that everyone can understand. She never talks over you. She talks to you. Because I think that's one of the things a lot of times politicians aren't good at. They will talk over you and
Yes.
say words and things that you probably, like the common people, don't necessarily pick up on. But she speaks to you in terms of that, all right, I'm sitting here at this table with you. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
I love that about her. And her tone is very just like calm and even keeled. She's not angry. She's not, I mean, scowling with her face. Like, I love that about her.
she knows she
Yeah.
reads the room, and
That
it's
too.
she
Yeah,
reads the room.
definitely.
Think
But that's
about the
what a
other
lawyer
guy.
does. A lawyer knows how
Yeah.
to read the
And she
room, read the faces. Go ahead, Elise.
and she knows how to listen. I think most people don't
Oh,
understand how to listen. We
nice.
should listen to we should listen to understand.
Yes.
Most people listen to respond.
Ooh.
Yes.
And so
Okay,
she has
wait.
that skill.
Pause. Can you say that one more time? Because that was so. That was a gem. You just dropped a major gem.
Yeah, we should listen to understand.
Yes.
Most people listen to respond.
Mm.
And so that's why people interrupt. That's why people go off on their tangent. She takes her time to understand. She's listening for
Yep.
the understanding. So that's a part of the process. Exactly what is it that they're asking? And so
Yeah.
that's why you pause and wait and you give people the opportunity to say what they're saying and without butting in. Because sometimes you want to respond. When you listen to respond, you respond before you even understand what they're actually
Mm-hmm.
asking you.
And
It,
then
it,
you're cleaning up as you go,
Right.
yes.
going blah 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 blah.
Right.
Which
All the time.
yeah,
All
She
the
was
time.
Yeah.
so good. I mean, and I mean, some people tease her because she pauses that way,
I
but
love
I
it.
love it. I love that she's thinking. Is showing that she is again. She's not going off some script. She's just not rattling off ideas that are in
She's
her head,
thoughtful.
like tossing things out there for you to hear.
Right.
And okay, I'm gonna pause because I want to welcome Pam Thomas into the YouTube field, into the YouTube world, and she says it was getting a little lonely over in IG. If you're in Instagram, come on over to YouTube. It is a better experience. And then when you have comments, we can put those comments on the screen, and you could be a part of the conversation. So come over from IG, don't know what I mean, and get a better experience, and you can interact with us on YouTube. So make sure you do that. But next subject. Time for the next subject, y'all.
Can
And
I say
I'm
one
ready.
thing though about Oprah's thing? I like the format.
The format was excellent.
Yeah.
I like the format because she got to respond to people in real time.
Real time.
And to me, that's so
much,
right. And I think it's so much better than, she needs to be in front of the press. She needs
She
to be
don't need to be in front of the press.
She needs to be in front of real people, and I think
she needs to be in front of real people.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, here we go. Are y'all ready?
Something great.
Are y'all ready for this one?
Bring on the Black Nazi.
This one will get your goat going. This one will get you. Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Yes, Mark Robinson, aka the Black Nazi,
Mr. Soldier. That's his username, Mr. Soldier.
Oh,
Mr. Soldier.
Mr. Mini. No,
Listen,
Mini Soldier.
I'm ready.
You said
Mini Soldier. Mini.
Yeah, sorry, Mini Soldier. Mini Soldier. Sorry,
Mini Soldier. That big man called himself Mini. On another day, in his mind, he's a mini soldier.
So can I start?
Yes, go ahead, Chris. I need a drink.
So CNN's K-File did an investigative report on him. And I mean, if you haven't had a chance to read the article, it's actually a good read and just full of information. So one of the things, before they even published it, they made sure they knew that this was him. You know, there was no getting around it. They looked for other places where he used this username. Not just that, because, you know, you can make up a username and use it, put it different places, but there are key things that he used, like contextual words that he uses on a regular basis that were found, right? Also, what he did was, and people don't think about this when they're doing it, but then when you go back and you'll see the pattern, you know, he would always mention his marriage of however many years, and then they would go back and look at the years when he posted it and how many years in addition that he was married, and they all lined up. He always used key phrases when speaking in these forums, using keywords, and they looked at them because that's one of the things when you look at speech patterns for people tend to have a pattern of keywords that they use over and over again, and how they write them, and in what order they put those words. They did all of that research and made sure that, okay, this is him. He had the nerve to put out a video and say that this was $1 million campaign, an AI generated deep fake. Now, mind you, this all happened before AI. Okay, so now he's saying that they went back to 2018 and used AI to generate all of this stuff all over the place. Because it wasn't just Nude Africa where he was posting this stuff. He had other accounts and other places he was posting over stuff.
There's a question in here. David Mascaro says, "Who is this Mark Robinson?" Mark Robinson is a lieutenant governor of North Carolina. How that happened, I don't know. But he is the lieutenant governor of North Carolina, a former or / preacher. And also he is running for the governorship of North Carolina. And Trump and the mega people they love him, support him, and they've called him Martin Luther King on steroids. They've compared him to all kinds of craziness, and he is the worst. And we are going to talk about how bad. First of all, reparations. Reparations, he says, should go to white people for taking care of their slaves.
Ron, you have to make sure you let people know Mark Robinson is a black man.
He's he is a black man.
A black man.
He's a black lieutenant governor. He is a black man in North Carolina, and he's running for the governorship of North Carolina. Thank you, Chris.
Can
black
I add
man.
to that, so like the level, make sure a level set of like, I mean, that's a good question. Like, who is Mark
Whew.
Ryan? There's some people that many of us may know, or laws or things. Let's not take it for granted. And the question, how did he become lieutenant governor? Here's where it pays to at least dig a little deeper into your own state's
Mm.
constitution and bylaws and all, all that stuff. Because if I'm not mistaken, North Carolina is one of the states where it's a split ticket, so people can vote for a governor and lieutenant governor of different parties.
Right.
And their, if I'm not mistaken, their constitution or bylaws or what have you are so weird, to use a word
Weird.
that if the governor leaves the state, it's like it, it's like he's incapacitated, because a lieutenant governor can go put in laws and stuff real quick.
Yeah.
And that's why one of the many reasons why current North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper was not picked.
Yes, he said he couldn't run because he took himself out of the bidding, because he couldn't run because he couldn't trust the lieutenant governor.
So that's why. So it's part of the level set of who he is and his background, and he's still a preaching minister. But go right ahead.
Yeah.
Well,
so Ron, can we talk about the first thing you said? He's mentioned that he said about white people and reparations, but they did get reparations. They got reparations.
They got reparations.
They got $300 a person. So they got reparations, which means he does not know history.
He doesn't know history. Because white people got reparations for losing their slaves.
So we don't even need to address that idiocy.
I believe, now, this man makes me believe in reincarnation. He must have been a Confederate soldier, a small man, a small mini soldier in the Confederate Army, and has been reincarnated. He says he also wants slavery reinstituted, and when it is, he wants to buy him some.
Let me tell you something. When I heard that shit, I'm like, sir, you are listen, let's get real. Let's get real quick. I'm not trying to offend anyone for the Caucasians in the room. Just sit there and listen. He would never make it into the house. He would be out in the fields, because guess what? His skin is dark. Okay? Yeah. You are what we call, forgive me, a field nigga. Okay? How do you put your lips together and use your tongue to say you want slavery back and you want to own slaves? How much self-hatred do you have of yourself? Not even for your people, but for yourself. This man is disgusting. I don't care about the whole nude Africa and the porn sites, whatever, to each his own. But when you start making statements like that, and that you are a black Nazi, what went wrong in your life?
What went wrong?
What happened in your life that you don't even see yourself?
Is that
that boils my blood?
Yeah, it was the most shocking. Well, first of all, I'm never shocked when it comes to this dude. I mean, he is also the one that said, I'm paraphrasing, that it was a choice between women having no rights, and I forgot what was the comparison, something about pigs or something. And he says women should have no rights. I'm looking for the day to go back to when women had no rights. And then in the scene, you see, I mean, there's footage of it. He's at the church. He's in the pulpit saying it.
Right.
And then the women are almost like shocked, but then they eventually, as a crescendo, start clapping.
That's the problem.
Look at, for anybody who doesn't know if you Google or YouTube, look at some of his comments, and it's not like they're on, as we say, they're on tape, or now we're in digital, whatever. But that old school saying, "We got you on tape." Don't let your eyes and ears deceive you from who this man is and what he like. Part. I'm like, is he gaslighting us or no? Maybe that's a percentage of it. But then the other part is like consistently since before he got into the game of politics, this is how he is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you not? Every time I've heard that, like him wanting like slavery would to come back and he'd own. I'm like, to your point, it's like what level of self hate and lying to yourself? Like I'm thinking, bruh, you do. I mean, I know I'm probably on the light caramely side, but you do see this, right? Yours may be a little darker, but you ain't gonna be, but then I try to stop myself. We are less than 46 days
Hey,
now
we're
away,
six.
Right.
and
Whew.
early voting. So
Early voting already starting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it starts today. Early voting starts
Yeah.
already
today
started.
in some states. And what I loved about the
Late legitimacy.
Democrats, when they interviewed the Democrats, they were like, please stay in. We don't want you to leave. We don't want you to be killed. We want
Well,
you to stay.
here's something. So the reason why that report, part of the reason why it probably came out yesterday was because he had until 11:59 p.m.
Yeah.
last night to get out of the race. That was the deadline.
Yes.
All right. So that was one. The Republicans in his state now want him to drop out. But you know what, though? Part of it is, all the racist things that he has said. The one thing that will get him in trouble with the Republicans, he called a white woman a bee.
Yeah.
All right. And that's where the outrage came. That's where the outrage came. Not about me being anything else or all the lewd and
the
crazy
transgender hate.
Listen, he's talked about transgender hatred, but yet still,
he was going to.
He said, "I love watching transgender sex." Make that make sense.
But that's
people are always telling you the quiet things out loud. The things that they're saying are the things that they're doing in private. Okay.
Right. I always tell people that when you hear them yelling and they're screaming about what all of this stuff so loudly that they're quote unquote against, that's what they're doing.
Yep.
That's who they are. That's what those are the skeletons in their closet that they're continually trying to cover up, which adds to that self-hatred. It adds to all of the things that you go through. But when you look at this person, you're upset because they called her a B word, but where would the white women should have been just as outraged being said, I want you to go back to when you don't have any rights. They don't want you to vote. He's one of those people that don't want women to vote. He doesn't want women to do anything. He just wants them to do what they're supposed to do in the house.
Well, he wants slaves and he wants women to have no rights.
Right.
And then on top of that, from the pulpit, I'm not sure if it was the same day with the women with no rights. There was another day.
I'm waiting.
He said, are you ready for this one? Some people need to be killed.
Some people deserve killing.
Yep.
Some people need to be killed. For their beliefs.
The irony of when that statement came out was right before that incident with the shooting with the former president. It was right before, like the week before. That's when that thing hit the
You're absolutely right.
And that was right before then. And I said, so you said that out loud. And then, but it's the Democrats because they said this man wants to destroy the democracy. He wants to destroy this country. That's not what getting the violence out there.
You cannot make this up.
No.
Like I said, if this was a movie and people were around the table creating the script and they said, you know what, we're going to have a lieutenant governor say these things. They were like, no, we can't put that in there. No one would ever believe it.
Yeah.
No one would believe what we say. So let me take a pause. I want to show you someone that really, we all like Focus Fridays to share some accounts that will encourage you and bless you and all that stuff. This account, I love Reese Waters. Reese Waters is just wife. I love him. I look at him religiously because he takes political stories and breaks them down in such a beautiful and unique way. And here it goes. I'm just going to share a brief of it. It is hilarious. Okay, oops, let me get that.
Hi, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. My name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled. Here I am, minding my own business, all excited to present to y'all part 2 of the Springfield Racist of the Week, when I start getting notifications that there are calls from GOP officials for Mark Robinson to bow out of the governor's race in North Carolina. Not this Mark Robinson.
Mark Robinson, he's out there, he's fighting. A very good man. This is Martin Luther King on steroids. I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King times 2.
I think he's going to go down as one of the great leaders in our country. I've been with him a lot. I've gotten to know him, and he's outstanding. He's outstanding in presentation, but he's probably even more outstanding in heart. Somebody that we have to be very, very careful. We have to cherish. We have to cherish Mark. He's a star. You have to cherish him. Amen. It's like a fine wine, because that's what you have. You have a fine wine. He's an outstanding person. I've gotten to know him so well and fairly quickly.
My to-do list used to look like this. A jumbled mess, projects back to back, and I would waste so much time.
Oh, what I'm going to do without Mark Robinson? I mean, why could they possibly be calling for Mark Robinson to resign now? I mean, we've already been through this.
Quote here, Livingston said Robinson usually came in with a pizza, purchased a preview of an adult film, and went into a private booth to watch it and eat.
I'm sorry, did he say... He said,
idiotic guy was on stage with Candace Owens a few days ago and asked her, what America are we going back to make America great again? The one where women couldn't vote or black people were swinging from trees? I would say to him, if I was standing in front of him, I absolutely want to go back to the America where women couldn't vote.
And this?
Called to be led by men.
You get it. So I don't want to get in trouble for having
God
this so
sent
long,
women out when he was supposed to do when they had to do that thing.
This, I mean, he breaks it down in such a way. I was like, no one has done it. I mean, he goes through every single thing about Mark Robinson.
Here's the thing, isn't it? I think it's very telling when the orange man goes on a stump and praises you. That means you're a bad person.
You are bad. You
are a bad person. But listen, if you went to him today, he'd be like, oh, I don't know who he is. I don't know him. I've never met him before. But yes, we got all this footage of him praising him and lifting him up and standing next to him, shaking hands, eating, breaking bread with him. Oh, I don't know him.
Oh, yeah. So it's going to be very hard. I can't wait to see Trump today and deny, I never knew him. I don't even know who he is.
And with all of those clips, somebody got to call him on and play the clips.
I can't wait for Kamala Harris' team to put out a video.
Oh, I cannot wait.
The minute he says, he don't know him.
And also the Lincoln Project.
I don't know if people watch Reese Colbert on IG, but her thing on him was hilarious. Well, she uses some language now. It was hilarious last night.
What's her name?
Reese Colbert.
I think she was on Roland Martin yesterday. They went to town on him yesterday too. I was watching it on my walk back home.
She's like, don't get out now, Mark. Don't get out now.
She was on there. I believe she was on there.
Oh, let me see here. Let me see if I can bring that up. Looks like my Instagram. Instagram is always, it's such a hard, I mean, it has become so horrible. Anyway, let me see. Can I get Instagram? Sometimes it boot you right off. It just boots you off. I don't know why. Right. Yep, I'm booted off, so I can't get it. I can't.
Get it. I think that's an Android thing.
Yeah, so it must be Android. No, this is Apple. I'm on my Apple computer.
You're on your computer. Sometimes it happens on your computer too. It'll do it sometimes on a computer.
It says we removed your content or something like that.
I've never gotten that.
I get it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. This goes, yeah. So anyway, I guess maybe because it's politics. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway.
Oh, that could be possible. They will do that.
But it is absolutely incredible. This guy is a horror show. He is absolutely well. Yeah. Well, we already know Trump is.
But, are we surprised?
But
this is what they put up.
Reese. I mean, it's not Reese. This Mark guy, the Black Nazi. There's an anger and meanness on another level. Even Trump. I mean, Trump is bad.
It's that deep self-hatred, though.
There's something. There's a real hate. I mean, and venomous hate, like torturous hate.
He's married to he has a white wife. He hates himself. Man hates himself.
So last night
he has so much self-hatred.
I'll be quiet.
Go ahead, Brian.
That was a topic of conversation at the table I was at, which on a sidebar.
Mm-hmm.
Last night is what America looks like.
Yes.
Because in a split second, we were talking about Mark Robinson and I think myself and me. Only black men at the table were me and my friend from Clubhouse, John Pierre. And in a split second, I took stock of the table. Okay, black woman, Latinos for Kamala. I think the one dude was chefs for Kamala. And that I said, I come from a interracial family, and I feel like I shouldn't even have to say that, but I'm like, I don't believe love is colorblind, because I've lived where love can see your color and see the beauty in that.
Right.
I said, what is there a common denominator amongst these black men that are in the Republican Party? And then the brother, we were like, just that look. And I said, who are they married to?
They're all married. Most of them are married to white women, and most of them are. They deny racism. They deny slavery. They deny. I mean, look, the Tim Scotts, all of them. They're just.
That's where I want to be tread respectfully, because I'm not saying white people are the problem.
Oh no!
Because I look at it, because this is where like I have raised eyebrows last night. I said, no, listen.
White people are appalled with this person, these people too.
I look at my grandmother as an example, who married a black man before Loving v. Virginia in freaking Tennessee, raising 6 biracial kids. And throughout my life, my own grandmother was the one who was white, was telling me, be careful with some of these white folks. Their eyes aren't open. And I hate.
I always remind people. I always remind people.
The right person. If that's who you love, that's who you love. But like, my older son's mom, who is white, even though we're not together, when we were together, I knew where she stood in her being, in her character. Yes, and that's where it gets me. All the one we have here, John James, Byron Donald.
They're from the same clan. Yeah. Literally
the clan.
They're from the same clan. But the thing is, when people, because I always like to make sure that people know that, people have this thing of all white people are this and all white people are that. Right. I always remind them, black people could not have become free if it wasn't for white people standing up under the abolitionist movement to say this is wrong. Whenever there's a crime to humanity, it is the people that are connected to the people that are doing it have to rise up to stop it. Same thing with discrimination in America. White people can only stop discrimination on the levels that it is because it's being dished out by white people. Same thing in a black community. If you were in a black community and black people were doing something and there was a minorities of another race there, it would take other black people to say, No, Joe, you are wrong. That does not. We are not going to act this way.
Right.
You know. So, but this guy is. Here's another one, and Jazzy mentioned it, and this was the other one that was shocking to me about. And we're going to leave this subject. Is Mark Robinson called Martin Luther King a Lucifer communist?
Yeah.
Which is like a Lucifer communist. The whole
What
thing
is?
What is that?
But it goes to show you the demented mind, the mind of this guy. And I don't even know who made him a preacher. I mean, like who was the one that ordained this character?
Who gave him a pulpit to stand in?
Right. Why would you even put this man in a pulpit?
And who are the people in his congregation that are lifting him up? Like I think that's probably even worse than him. The fact that you have a whole congregation that's sitting there and cheering him on.
That's the question, because that's what I said to my daughter last night. We were talking after dinner. I said, so we talk about Trump. We also have to talk about the people who are supporting that. Yeah, that's where the issue really is the people who support that, and what is their motivation. Some of it's about money, some of it's about hate, some of it's about whatever self-hate that's out there. And I think that's the big issue. And I think when you go to thinking about Mark down there, and you think about what's happening, and think about people, and think about the fact that this is a minority of people that has been given a loud voice.
Yeah.
Especially by media.
Yes.
They've been given an extremely loud voice.
I love that you put that comment up, Ron. You know, it's so funny when you have Marjorie Taylor Greene against him. Like what bizarre world are we really living in? Like Marjorie Taylor Greene, like she's condemning all these people now, like are being like racist, and you can't support them.
When you got Marjorie Taylor Greene saying we can't do this, you know you are really off the tracks.
It's like who gave her something to drink in the last 2 weeks?
I love David says this. I was so used to Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Greene and Karen Lake making stupid remarks. Now we have JD and this Robinson dude.
Right.
The Republican Party, they're just putting out these crazy people. So like Mark Robinson is no surprise to me that he's a candidate. They had other candidates, qualified candidates they could put up, but they continuously choose these low reaching bar people to put up, and they're losing. They're always losing. What is it about them that says, you know what, this is what we want and this is what we're going to do? Even if we're losing, we'll get it. Like, it's just not making any sense. It's like they're constantly just keep shooting themselves with that AK-15 in the foot, and maybe they're not feeling the pain. So they're just going to keep doing it until, all right, well, maybe I feel something now. Let's change what we're doing. There's going to be a reckoning after this election is over. How can they sit there and say, all right, we need to change? Like, they've had all these years to walk away from Trump. There have been so many opportunities, but yet still they double, triple, quadruple down on this man.
Yeah. But the whole thing is, go ahead, Bree.
Well, I was going to say, I'm in a wait and see on if there will be a reckoning within the Republican Party after this, because I'm having deja vu. Here's a couple of points why. When Barack Obama was in office, when he got elected, got the slacking in the midterms, but then when he was reelected, the Republican Party, I heard it was like deja vu. It's like in the moment, and I feel like for me, I've observed this history. I'm feeling and seeing a pattern. Initially, the pain hurts, like for them, like, holy crap, we got our butts beat, or by little or a lot, but we're continuing this decline. And in the moments, like a panic of like, what do we got to do something? Okay, let's bring in Michael Steele. He's a black guy, and then he'll run the. And then Michael Steele actually had legitimate. He kept it real.
He tried to help them out, but and when he did, they kick him out.
But eventually, I feel like, after the initial shock of like, oh my God, we got to do something, they start, and I'm just paraphrasing here, spitballing, like they start lulling themselves back into, well, maybe, as time passes, well, maybe that punch wasn't as bad as we thought. Yeah, I mean,
but Brian,
but
they at the end of the day, and it's always been said, the Republican Party is not racist, but racists love the Republican Party. And there's a reason, because they allow this crap to go on. And even though when they grab Michael Steele as an alternative, because we have a black president, then we need a black person. Remember, the Republican Party, because I was a Republican, the Republican Party did a big campaign to reach others. They went out. That's what was the whole purpose of hiring Michael Steele, is that they wanted to change the face of the Republican Party, because there were so many racist, bigoted people that were flocking to them that they had to change their appearance. Right. However, Trump hijacked. Well, let me go back a little bit.
They gave it.
The Republican parties gave reign to the Tea Party, and thought they could give that reign to the Tea Party, and it wasn't going to do any damage. So the Tea Party comes into the Republican Party, merges during the Obama years, and then you got this Trump guy, racist, race baiting, and then he infiltrates, and then the Republican Party is no more.
So I'm going to say this. I think you have a hard time in the getting people to understand when you say Republicans aren't racist, because they fight against so many things that would help everyone.
True.
That they fight for so much that's going to help one particular group, and it's not just race; it's also class.
It's class. It's class.
So because we have to go back to the caste system.
Yeah.
Our system is built on racism. It also is about class. So the way you keep the classes separate is you use race. And that's why they do all the race baiting all the time. Yes. And I think that with the Tea Party, it came in and said, oh, that's not so bad. And then MAGA came in.
That's right.
Like, okay, so this is like a nightmare. And what do we do? Because, and when you were talking about how they brought Michael Steele in. I thought of the analogy. This time I was thinking it while you were talking too. I thought of the analogy of when women wake up, when anyone wakes up, J.D. Vance wake up and put on his eyeliner, whatever you want to do. When I can make up and look like anything.
Yeah.
But beneath that makeup, I'm still who I am.
That's right.
Yep.
And so that's what they have to work on, is coming back to that core of when they used to be that party where you would compromise, where you would come up with bipartisan things and no one could talk you out of it. And that's the problem, because right now we're dealing with our budget, right? Our federal budget, and it being held hostage by Trump and his minions. So
again.
And here's something that is Charlene says. She goes, at this point, is there any restoration for the Republican Party? I don't believe so. I believe where we are heading, just this is my opinion, I believe that there will be no more Republican Party that we know of. It will never be restored. It's never coming back. I think we are now moving into a new era in America where there are people that don't want democracy and people that want democracy.
Right.
And the people that want democracy, because as you see, Kamala is merging the two. There are so many Republicans that have no choice. As a matter of fact, the Democratic Party has become much more centralist than probably ever in its history, where Republicans and Democrats are now coming together to save democracy. And you even have Republicans, because I've gone, I still stay in tune to what's going on their platform, saying, burn the Republican Party down, We need you to vote all blue, straight down the ticket. I mean, anytime you got Republicans saying, vote down the ticket, all Democrats, you know that there's a merging happen. You see all of these Republicans, they're by the droves, they're by the hundreds. And you go online and you listen to the platforms, the Bulwark, and all the different, or the Lincoln Project. All these people, these are all Republican based, but they are now trying to save democracy. And I think what we are moving into an era in American history, I may be wrong, but I think the party of the Republican Party and Democrats are merging, and now what you have is this extreme party that is out to destroy the country and have joined Russia. Remember, they are part of Russia. They want America to be destroyed, and they're building their. And they will, even when this election is over, they will still be with us. That's where they go is going to determine how we respond.
Yeah, I want to ask you all a question.
Yeah.
So about on the Republican Party side, do you believe that I would say the majority of them did not fully grasp what the impact of the MAGA movement could have on their party?
They didn't see it coming.
I don't know that. You know what? I don't agree with that.
No, that was just a question. Oh, talking about Ryan. Okay.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I think because think about it. Even someone said it in the comments. You know, this is an incarnation of the Tea Party. It's just constantly evolved over years, and this was, you know, I think Trumpism is the ultimate culmination of everything that's been going on for the last 50 years in the Republican Party. This is what they've wanted.
Yeah.
This is what the party has become. And, you know, I think the Republican Party is, as we know it, is dead. In order for traditional Republicans that want that traditional Republican framework, they had to start a new party. This is the MAGA movement. This is Trumpism. That is now the official name of the party. So you've got the Democratic Party, you've got the Trumpism party, and that third party that we've always talked about that doesn't really work in this country will be what was left of the Republican Party. They're going to have to rebuild as something else.
I agree. I totally agree.
I lean towards what you're saying, Chris. Like the question of I feel like it's been there, just getting a little bit louder within the Republican Party. Why I say that? Because I look at how they for 50 years attacked Roe v. Wade.
Right.
To me, that's a long con. You know,
50, 60 years almost.
Right.
Con artist, pickpocket is like, boom, that's right now. I got your money, got your wallet, purse, I'm out. A long con, a professional con artist, they may be crazy like a fox, but they plan over time. And that's why I think like, okay, you got MAGA extreme of the Republican Party, Tea Party. Before that, go back into hell. How many of us remember during the 90s? They were trying to rip Bill Clinton a new one over right, wrong, or indifferent over Monica Lewinsky.
Right.
Go back to Reagan.
Well, the Republican parties have always been crazy. They've always been. They've always been an element of it's no other way. It's just saying there's an element of the Republican Party that's crazy,
right?
And now what it has become, and I will use this term I guess forever. It has become the party of misfit toys.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at each one of these people, they are such misfits. I mean, they could never fit. They can't fit into regular society. They are so, I mean, like Trump's daughter-in-law making that song and going viral. that was it, it was just sad. It was just sad watching this Republican Party. But remember, there were the Whigs. There were other parties before.
Yeah.
There were other forms of parties.
Right.
I mean, in America, there are no longer.
Right.
And the Whigs was a strong party back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Whigs and the Republicans.
Right. I think you unleashed this dragon, this monster.
Oh yeah.
Thinking that you could control the monster.
And they lost control.
And the monster consumed you. And because they couldn't bring it back, because that you thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna get what we want, and then you look at what you got. So you didn't think you were gonna get ripped apart by this monster that you unleashed and thought you could control.
And many people blame Boehner. They said, Boehner, you allow these people. They appeased the Tea Party. They wanted their numbers and they wanted their votes so they can pass their legislation and bills. And Boehner wasn't wise enough to realize where this was going to go. And he's also, I think he has also said he takes some of the blame. I remember him in his interviews.
They've all been consumed by this quote unquote monster. Think about it, Boehner, all the Republican leaders in Congress have all fallen. They've all fallen to this monster.
I've heard it said best. It's like feeding an alligator, hoping it'll eat you last. Because as long as you're feeding you keeping him off of you, him or her. Eventually, crap, I've run out of stuff, and now the alligator's turning.
If you create a monster, the monster's eventually going to eat you.
Right. Just like, the analogy that someone had, people with these huge snakes, the snake laying in the bed. And so the snake is actually measuring to see how much longer they have to be before they can eat you.
Woo. Another gem. Oh my gosh, Elise, that was really profound.
It will eventually turn on you.
Yeah,
it's gonna turn on you. And that's the thing, is like you and them not operating or in that sense of you operating on selfish motivations. And it is about the money, the power, the control. That's at the core of it all. Yes. And protecting these things, because how many people are talking about what Vance has said about this plan, where you plan to roll back the prices, those prices that people are getting for their medications. You're going to take that away. All those things. And how many people are really focused on that? And I think everybody has to make sure you don't get so distracted by all of these other things that are out there that you don't focus on what's really happening too.
Here's the other thing. My last point for the day. The Republican Party, quote unquote Republican Party, they've got two trains on two separate tracks, and these tracks will never cross. Trump is running to stay out of prison, and the other Republicans are trying to stay in power. They're not the same thing. They are not the same thing. So they're not even united. They're just going along like this. They'll never cross.
Never. Stay alive. They're just trying to stay alive. Both of them are trying to stay alive. Trump's using them. They're using Trump. Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, you got one.
Yeah. Can I say one more thing?
Go ahead,
I always tell people to make sure that we need to make a distinction in how we use words. These people are not simply conservatives. They're extremists. Because many of us have conservative views, but we're not extremists.
Yes.
These people are extremists. So I call them extremists. I don't even call them conservatives, because they're extreme and they're bent on destruction.
Yep.
Ryan, you got a good question for us today, then?
I do have an ending question for you, because since we always want to leave now on a light note. So I have a question for you. Here we go. Y'all ready?
I don't know.
What was your favorite lunchbox? Dude, I mean, I know that there are some young people that didn't have lunchboxes.
The brown paper bag.
But I had my Star Trek lunchbox.
I never had a lunchbox. I always had I always did the school lunches. I never had a
See,
lunchbox.
we had when we were. See, now I'm age. I guess you have to be of a certain age to
No, I mean you
have
could,
a solid lunchbox. No, I saw kids with lunchboxes after
yeah, we
me.
had. I mean, people brought lunchboxes to school, but I never personally had one.
Okay,
And of course, you wanted one, but
I think at some point I had one, but it started out with that brown paper bag, and then like Chris said, then it became school lunches because, and I talked to my granddaughter about this all the time. We used to get really good food at school, especially when I lived in Alabama and I lived in Ohio. We had excellent school lunches. So I wanted to eat school lunch. I didn't want to pack a bag. I wanted to get that cherry pie. The lunch now is trash.
Yeah.
I remember my mother had to go out and get a thermostat. She would put the soup in the thermal thing, and she would put the soup in, and then we would have the sandwich. And like I said, I had Star Trek. I see someone has in here. Wow. Elsie says, I wanted a Jackson 5 lunchbox. That was a popular one. Jackson 5 was popular. Superman was popular.
Yeah.
Batman was popular.
Yeah.
I got Star Trek. What Bryson says Star Trek. Woo, Star Trek. Jazzy says paper bag, brown paper bag.
You know, though, most lunchboxes came with a thermos in it.
Yeah,
they
my
did.
Goodness.
They still do. Real lunchboxes still do.
Sean says she had a Pink Panther.
Okay.
That was what my god sister had a Pink Panther.
I had several. I ran through. Apparently, looking back on my childhood, when I had lunchboxes, I'm like, man. Apparently, I ran like socks because I had a lot. But my favorite is the one that. Well, okay, there was a slight violent act, but it protected me. So that's when the metal lunchbox came in handy. That was I won that fight with a Super Friends lunchbox.
Oh, Super Friends! I remember the Super Friend lunchbox.
Yeah, but my favorite was there's this TV show back in the day called BJ and the Bear.
Oh, remember BJ and the Bear? Yes.
Truck driver. He was a Vietnam. It was like Robin Hood because he was a truck driver. He was an independent trucker. He drove around America, but he had this bright red and white Kenworth cab over semi truck, and he was BJ. Oh, yeah. Where the Bear part came, it's like only back in the day on TV. He had a pet monkey that he named Bear. And here's another reason I loved it, because he named him after Bear Bryant.
Okay. Well, Charlene says my Peanuts lunchbox was my favorite. I had a peanut lunchbox. Remember, I told y'all when I was growing up, I had peanut gang sheets, curtains, pillows, everything.
You were hardcore.
I was hardcore. Charlie Brown. They used to call me Charlie Brown when I was a kid.
I can see that.
You can see that, right? You can see me being Charlie Brown.
Detail says Spider-Man.
Spider-Man was another one. I did not have Spider-Man, but I like Spider-Man. I never had a school lunchbox. Oh, sorry, Shirley.
Same here.
And let's see here. Pammy says young people now don't know. They don't even know about a brown paper bag. She says about young people. And Derek says he has Spider-Man. Okay, got him in there. And Elmar says, I was jealous of the kids that had lunch boxes. I finally got one, and it was Hot Wheels. Yes, I remember the Hot Wheels lunch boxes. Oh my gosh. Anyway, guys, this was good. I love it. So
back down memory lane.
Everyone have a great weekend. Elise gonna have the last word, and then we're gonna be out of here. Elise, you got the last word.
I got the last word. Yeah, my thing is, we need to stay focused. Don't get distracted by the trend of the day, whatever that is. Just stay focused and vote blue up and down that ticket. and have an amazing weekend. And get out and live. Get out and live life. Take a break sometime. Do
That's
that.
right.
Go out and live. And I'll be doing my first artist talk on a stage tomorrow with an audience.
Wow!
Yeah,
All right.
so,
Congratulations. Is anyone gonna be like doing something on YouTube or filming it?
I know they have an AV
or Instagram
system set up, and my family will be there. My daughter may videotape something.
We need footage. We need footage.
We need footage.
Yeah, there will be some footage somewhere.
Congratulations, Elise.
Yeah.
Y'all, she knows her art and she loves art. I'm so proud of you. That is awesome. I am so proud of you. So, guys, what's the saying? Live life like you mean it and focus on what matters. Okay, guys. See you on Monday. If not, I'll see you during the weekend. Bye.